I remember growing up in the church and getting lost in the swelling sounds of the organ and the choir. I think this is why we fell in love with worship and why we've given our life in service to the church with our music. We all know those Sunday mornings. You're the first one to show up at the church. You turn on the lights. You're making copies. You're trying to get everything ready so you can rally the troops. You got the full choir showing up. And then back to back to back, you skip lunch. And then you're the last one to leave the church. And you drive home super late. These are the sacrifices that we make as Catholic musicians in order to bring beauty to the Mass. My name's Dave.
And I'm Lauren. We began traveling around the country with our music, and we realized that it was a struggle for the communities to enter into the Mass parts that we had available to us.
Everything we found was either for High Mass or Youth Mass, but in reality, we were searching for something that universally met the needs of all the different generations coming to Mass.
That's when we decided we've really got to do something about this. That began a journey to write and arrange the Mass of Peace.
We really had to dig into the history of liturgical music, and that led us to reading the church documents. And in doing so, we found that the church places more of an emphasis on the people singing the prayers of the Mass than even the open or closing hymn. I realized that with these prayers of the Mass, we wanted to reflect the beauty of God, but we really wanted them to be truly singable.
This is one of the biggest creative challenges yet in our music career. During the Masses and conferences we'd play, we spent those times really crafting and honing in on these Mass setting melodies. We've tested them from the traditional churches to youth conferences to multiple parishes, and each time fine-tuning and honing in on the different arrangements.
After almost 5 years of working on this music, on these melodies, here we are, ready to share them with you.
So we believe these Mass arrangements can unite congregations across the contemporary and traditional aisles. Every time we've played the Mass setting, there's been an audible response in the congregation and a prayerfulness that has just risen up while people are singing.
Ultimately, Lauren and I have found these arrangements to work super well in our own ministry. And what we want to do is we want to empower you with the resources to use them in your own church. We have samples of each style for you to listen to below.
The High Mass, the contemporary version, the orchestral, the choral, and the solo instrument and voice rendition. You'll find guitar and vocal lead sheets, keyboard accompaniment, orchestral scores, organ scores, and the audio for each.
But you won't understand their power by just listening to them. You really have to sing the Mass parts to understand how easy they are to learn. And more importantly, how they make the narrative of Christ's life, death, and resurrection come to life for your congregation in the Mass. We don't charge you to print, and we don't charge you per copy. We're just trying to make this gift that we have found so powerful for us in our ministry accessible to everyone. So please join our family. We're musicians. Let's come together and let's change the culture.